It was supposed to be the one thing that could not be seen. A front door camera, unplugged, disconnected, with no subscription and no cloud storage. Dead in the water, as far as anyone knew. But the camera was never truly dead. It was waiting, holding on to something in the dark. A single moment captured in its tiny memory, buried deep in its circuits, refusing to let go. That is the uncomfortable truth about the technology surrounding modern life. It does not forget. It does not fully die. And when someone cuts the power, or cancels the subscription, the device does not stop watching. It was a case that captured attention across the country, the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of a well-known television host. For over a week, there were few answers. What made this story even more frustrating for investigators was the technology at the front door. There was a Google Nest camera mounted outside her home, but it seemed useless. The power had been cut, and there was no active cloud subscription to save any video. The sheriff initially said there was simply no footage available. It seemed like a dead end. But then everything changed. The FBI announced they had recovered video of a suspect. This left everyone with the same question: how? If the camera was disabled and there was no subscription, where did this footage come from? The answer to that question opens up a fascinating and slightly unsettling look into how modern technology really works, and it has major implications for personal privacy. To understand how the FBI got this footage, it is important to look at the specific device sitting outside Nancy Guthrie's house. Investigators determined it was a Google Nest doorbell, specifically the second-generation wired model. This is a popular device, and understanding its design is the first piece of the puzzle. Unlike older camera systems that just stream video to the cloud constantly, these newer models are built with a small amount of internal or onboard flash memory. Think of it like a tiny hard drive inside the doorbell itself. This memory serves a specific purpose. According to Google's own community forums, these devices have enough internal memory to store up to 1 hour of recorded events when they are offline. Higher video quality settings and more activity can shorten that time, but the key point is that the camera keeps recording locally when the internet goes down. So, when the suspect cut the power to the house and the Wi-Fi went dark, the camera did exactly what it was designed to do. It kept working and kept recording directly to that internal storage, waiting for the connection to come back. But that still doesn't fully explain how the FBI got the video weeks later. The internal memory is a small buffer, not a permanent archive. Furthermore, the owner did not pay for a Nest-aware subscription. Without that subscription, Google's policy states that video clips are only saved for a limited time. For cameras like the one in this case, non-subscribers get up to 3 hours of event-based video history before it expires and is deleted. Some older models offer up to 6 hours. This is why the sheriff initially believed there was no evidence. Under normal circumstances, by the time the family reported Nancy missing the next day, any footage would have been automatically wiped clean. So, what happened? This is where the story takes a turn into the world of data forensics and what experts call lazy deletion mechanisms. When a video clip is uploaded to a company like Google, it travels through a complex chain of servers and systems. Even if a user doesn't have a subscription, that clip is processed by Google's computers. It has to be looked at, compressed, and analyzed to send a motion alert to a phone. And for a brief moment, a copy of that video exists on those company servers. Now, about that deletion process. Most people imagine that when a file is deleted from a server, it vanishes instantly, like a piece of paper thrown into an incinerator. That is not how it works. A better analogy is a library card catalog. When a file is deleted, the computer simply removes the card that tells it where to find the book. The book, or in this case the data, is still sitting on the shelf. The system marks that space as available to be written over with new information later. Until new data actually overwrites that specific spot on the hard drive, the old video fragments are still there, lingering in what the FBI called back-end systems. The critical detail here is the timeline. Google's policy says data is deleted within hours. Yet the FBI recovered footage more than a week later. This suggests that data can persist in complex, distributed storage layers for much longer than users are led to believe. It creates a forensic window where data that users think is gone can actually be resurrected. So, when the FBI sent a search warrant to Google, they weren't asking for a video file that was neatly labeled and saved. They were asking Google engineers to go into the server rooms and perform digital forensics on their own equipment. They had to hunt through the storage systems looking for fragments of data that hadn't been overwritten yet. They had to find that book that was still on the shelf even though the library card was gone. The process likely involved searching through what are known as residual data caches in Google's infrastructure. The person familiar with the investigation told news outlets that the task was so technically difficult that investigators weren't even sure it would work. At this point, you might be thinking, wait, does this mean Google is saving everything I do? The answer is a bit more complicated. According to Google's own privacy documentation, the company collects various types of data, including sensor data, device usage data, and technical information like IP addresses and Wi-Fi connection details. However, experts are quick to point out that Google does not normally keep this footage around for easy access. The reason they were able to find it in this specific case is a combination of luck and the high-profile nature of the investigation. A digital forensics expert named Jeff Martin described the recovery as a lucky coincidence. Adam Want, a professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, stated that Google went above and beyond and retrieved and recovered something that they normally would not have been able to do because of the high profile of this case. It was a massive manual effort, not a simple database query. Some have even speculated that this could be a vestige of the old Nest systems that Google hasn't fully integrated. Google bought the Nest company back in 2014, and for many years after, they maintained separate Nest accounts and apps. The full consolidation into the Google Home app only happened in recent years. It is possible that some legacy data storage processes from the old Nest system were still hanging around in the background, inadvertently holding on to data that should have been cleared out. This raises another question. Do users really know where all their data goes? More importantly, Google states that sometimes business and legal requirements oblige them to retain certain information for extended periods for specific purposes like security, fraud prevention, and complying with legal requirements. This means that even data marked for deletion might be held onto if there's a legal or security reason to do so. So what does this specific case mean for the average person's privacy? This is where the discussion gets very important. The first thing to understand is that disabling a device does not mean it stops collecting data. In this case, even after the power was cut, the camera still had battery power and internal memory to capture the suspect. The only way to 100% guarantee a camera is not recording anything is to physically remove it or completely destroy it. As security consultant Corey Spano put it bluntly, the best thing people can do is unplug devices if they don't want them recording. This leads to a bigger question about the devices in homes today. These cameras offer incredible convenience. For a relatively low cost, anyone can check on their house from anywhere in the world. They can see packages being delivered or get an alert if someone is at the door. The Nest doorbell, wired, second gen, that was used in this case even offers continuous 24/7 recording with a subscription, and without one it still provides free smart alerts for people, packages, animals, and vehicles. But the trade-off for that convenience is that the video leaves the house. It goes to a corporation's server, and as this case